on YouTube and hopefully played back later. Let me get rid of this. All right. Okay.
I'm here, Chuck. I finally got it.
Okay. Paul, I'm going to open up with you on the Veolia project manager discussion with John, unless John can chirp in.
Okay.
You there?
I'm here.
Okay. What do you have for us for an update?
So we have we put together the task order that we had talked about during our original meeting. So we're going to have that for you later on this afternoon, which will authorize us to proceed to help you with the identified projects that you asked us to assist with, and what we need as far as support, from you in the town to complete those and to stay on schedule with the administrative order. So we'll have that for submittal for you. Hans should be done with it this morning sometime.
And you can send that directly to me. One other question I have: where do we stand on the bid preparation for the I&I work?
So at this point, we still have to review the documents. That'll take place after you receive the task order. It is signed and it is issued back to us. Then we'll proceed with compiling everything that you need to stay on track with all the projects identified.
Okay, as soon as I see that, we'll get on that. Did you receive the?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Does that bid prep, does that need to be a separate task order?
That has to be a separate task order, yes. Well, that's Richard. Did you receive all the documentation information you needed from ACOM on the SSES study? Paul?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said Richard. I'm sorry. Yeah, so we received the electronic files that were requested. I do believe that they are sending a flash drive with the other files. So once we receive that, we should be fine. I think that's going to Rick.
Yes, Rick, I believe you have that, don't you?
No, not yet. I thought he said he was going to mail it to you, Chuck, and then I was going to upload it to these guys on our G drive.
Okay. I'll take a look down there. Maybe Rob can give me a heads up if a package comes in from ACOM. One thing I want to do is I want to share a screen. I want to get down the task orders, if you don't mind, on the order. This is what we'll need for the November 30th submittal. Now, some of these, I believe, is going to be included in the work along with the additional SSES study. I mean, not the SSES, the CWMP, I believe. So I got a conversation this afternoon with Kevin Olson scheduled. As you go down this list, if you just refer to anything you need me to pull together for you, Rob and John, I'll take care of it. I'll make sure you get it expeditiously.
All right, thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay, I would like to have this wrapped up so the board can vote on it at the November 17th meeting, vote its approval, then send it over to council for the last minute, run through. There'll be no technical changes, but just verbiage legalese, I guess. But that's where that stands. So, like I said, anything on this list that you need, just make sure you get to me, and I'll make sure you get it.
Chuck, are you able to unmute the screen with the telephone number? Johnny has called in, and that's what he's going to be able to use.
Okay, I can. How do I unmute? Oh, ask to unmute. Okay, hold it. How do I unmute? Anyone know? Anybody question?
Hello?
There you go.
There you are. Hey, John.
Thank you, guys.
Okay,
Thank you. Sorry about that.
that's okay. As I was saying, this is the list that we need for the November 30th. I think a lot of it, to be honest with you, is pretty much covered. I mean, it's just pulling
Yeah,
together.
we put together, Paul and I have put together a draft copy, so to speak, a template of the response to EPA, outlining those bullet items under section number 29. But, you know, in good faith that the task order is going to be signed. So there is some traction on that end. And we're just, obviously, if you look into the bulleted point items here, there's going to have to be some kind of coordination of efforts between town departments and ourselves.
Okay. It's like I said, as soon as I get that task order, I'll take a look at it. And if I have to call a special meeting, well, I could leave it on the table down there for the guys to sign. But like I said, I don't know if you heard, I would like this fully completed, and I want to see, you know, a draft that we can all talk about. I'd like it approved, to get it approved at the November 17th meeting for the board. I'd like to be I'd like to be proactive with the EPA if we could. But I don't see any reason why we cannot meet this. Do you? John?
Short answer is I don't think so. But like Paul and I, like once you commit something to EPA, once you, as far as administrative order of response, you're setting that in stone, so to speak. That's the expectation. So I want to be diligent about what we plan on saying is our approach. I get it. It's to 67,000 gallons plus a day. I mean, that we're looking to tackle. But the means and methods and the approach we want to take, I just want to make sure it's to the benefit of the town.
Absolutely. I mean, but I'm just saying for the date itself, I mean, that should not be a significant roadblock after we get that signed. I got to figure out now how to
So, question
shoot.
on this report that is due on November 30th, as we start this process, Viola, will you be assigning, or is there going to be a responsibility list for each of these items? I'd like to know who will be providing or compiling the information for each
Yeah,
item.
there'll be someone in charge of overseeing the project's completion, as Chuck has pointed out, for us to as a task for us. And then we'll report back to you with the status of each project as it goes along.
Right, because as you said, some of this is town information and some will come from the plant.
I think
I guess.
if you're, Sherry, I'm sorry, if you're, just for clarification, are you talking about the response that's due on the 31st, the one that we're talking about for November 17th?
Yes.
Right. So our preliminary workshops that we're going to have with the commission and or the town department heads, we have to identify who those point people are that give us the data.
Thank you. Yep, that's what I'm looking for. Thank you.
Okay, John, like I said, if you could just let me know when you're ready for that, I'll coordinate that meeting and make sure it happens with the appropriate people.
Will do.
Okay, I guess that's it. That's the November submittal. I told everyone before we had heard from the EPA that the September 1st was satisfactory to them. So with that, John, Paul, Rick, do you have any? Rick, I'd like you to stick around for a few seconds. John and Paul, I don't want to tie you up because you got a quote you got to get to me later on.
Correct. Do we have a copy of that September 1st submission? I don't recall.
The September 1st submission was the CWMP modification. I will send that over to you. The second this meeting is over, I'll send it to your attention and to Paul's.
All right. Just quick outline on that. Did we give Wright Pierce, did the town give Wright Pierce the go ahead to include the additional I&I scope in that CWMP?
Yes, we did. The board signed it off Friday morning. As far as I know, it was going to the town accountant today. So you want a copy of the CWMP
And the point person from right Pierce that I can talk to kind of, I want to include language in the response, the November's response to include the CWMP. And you have to kind of mirror those two or feather those two together.
I understand that. Okay, your point person would be Kevin Olson.
Oh, all right.
And if you cannot get in touch with him, go for Adam Higgins. Kevin is the project manager. Adam is the engineer.
Thank you, Chuck.
You got it. Well, I'll keep it short and sweet for you guys because you got to go make the donuts, right?
Trying to stay away from those. All right. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, guys. Thank you very much for your help. Take care. Paul, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, before we go to the accounting update, what I'm going to ask Robin to do, if she's still with us. Robin, you there? Oh, there she is. Robin, I'm turning it over for review department item. No, Rob. We'll wait for Robin. Why don't we jump down to superintendent? Naturally. I'll begin if you don't mind.
So we've got the echo again. I think we're good now. Sorry, what was the question?
Do you want to begin with the personnel going over the interview, or would you rather I start? Dan?
I don't care. I thought the guy was a pleasant guy and everything but a license, and he didn't know the plant. No license, no plant, you know.
Yeah, my gut feeling is that he was a nice guy. I think, honestly, I think he'd be more of an asset to Rick than he would us. He's never been in a wastewater facility. He's got no NIPTES permit background, but he has MWRA, which is just as tough as, pretty much tough as they come. I've been through that, so I know what they demand every month and for a year. So I don't think the NIPTES would be any change for him. But my gut feeling is, listening to him, he's really just a streetcar. He's overlooked the piping and all that. He's never troubleshot a wastewater facility. He's never worked on an IPP plan program, but he has looked into holes for grease traps and markouts. Grease traps is, as far as the residents should know, when somebody goes out to look at a grease trap, usually a restaurant, let's use, for example, the China Plaza, would hire their own company to come out and pump out a grease trap. And Rick, you check me if I'm wrong. We basically look in the hole and make sure it's been pumped out, correct?
That's correct. Yep.
Okay, so that's really not a grease traps is really nothing. As far as the I&I, he said it a lot. He said the word a lot, but my major concern, he's just a conduit of feedback from vendors. He really didn't know the nitty gritty of it. He knew from blockage and cracks, but again, I think that is just a reflection of his 3 years experience. You know, the on-call wasn't an issue. He never had experience with septics or conversions. And if I'm going through negatives, I don't mean it. What I'm trying to do is convey what I picked out. I mean, because I went down that list of questions and I try to look for the positives on it. Again, there's no shot to this gentleman. He just didn't have the experience. He really had no experience with liens or waivers. I don't think if we get to a plant upgrade, he had the technical experience with the various processes to be able to make hold a conversation with a vendor to say, no, I'd rather go to this process, like Rick, like we went through with the digester back and forth with the right PS.
Yep. I agree.
He's had absolutely zero experience treating sludge, which is going to be our background, our problem for a long time to come. As far as supervisory, he's one of two people, and I think it's not his staff. It's just like he was a senior person. I think he's very capable of handling multiple projects if he was comfortable with the technical side of the project. He's participated with capital budgets, but never really prepared one on his own. He's not familiar with Uniform Procurement Law, Chapter 30. My bottom line is, I could go through more. I had 6 pages of notes. I did the check sheet 3 times because I didn't want to torpedo the kid. But like I said, I just personally don't feel like he has what we need. I think we should keep advertising. We have this project manager going. Rick, he's the type of guy that I think if we divide, depending how the board handles this, he may be the diamond in the rough for you as far as developing, getting him the facility experience and things of that nature. But Sherry, how'd you feel?
I would agree. I mean, I think he's very motivated to learn. He understands the collection system. I think he could handle some of the I&I issues that we're facing. But there were some gaps in the experience, notably facility experience, the budget and capital planning, which is where we're going to really need somebody. It would require an extensive training plan, I think, to bring him completely up to speed.
Well, right now, my biggest fear is that with this order over our head, I don't think we have the luxury of training or guessing. Please don't take this the wrong way. I'm not by no means patting myself on the back. I think, but between Rick and I, we could help him. But with this order, I think that's just too much. And I, honest to God, I think the pressure would get to him as far as that. He's never worked, I think, in a political environment, and getting pulled in several directions, I think would distract him and discourage him, to be quite honest with you. My personal feeling is we keep looking. Dan?
I agree with you.
Sherry?
I guess I think we should keep looking, but I also strongly feel that we need somebody to be the face of the sewer department. Just in these past 2 weeks, we're going to need to communicate with the developers, maintaining the build files, working with town hall on these grants, and keeping up on these projects. I know we have the project manager position. We're working on that, but I strongly feel we need somebody there, but I'm not sure if this is the person. Again, there's some significant gaps. And as you said, I don't know if we have the luxury to train.
Well, I think
we also have to consider the responses we've been getting.
This project manager, we could also, part of his task when I initially spoke with him was they will be coming in and looking at developers' prints. And as a matter of fact, I think they're coming in this week. So I'm not concerned with that. The interaction with town hall, I'm not concerned with that. Between Lori or they can reach out and send what they need. Right now, I think our main issue is the plant technical. If I had to put them in order, I'd say it's a facility number 1, EPA order number 2, and supporting Rick number 3.
Yeah.
So I make a motion that we continue to look. Rick, I'd like to send you this gentleman's resume. So I'd like to make a motion that we continue to look thank Mr. Dempsey for his time, and Rick, if you want to pursue it, I think he'd be a person Violi would like to get their hands on.
Oh, absolutely. Send me over his resume, Chuck.
All right, Dan, I'm going to put it to a vote. I make a motion that we continue to look. Do I have a second?
Okay.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor? Mr. DeRoss,
Yes.
Ms. Valley,
Yes,
and Mr. Hessian, yes. Rick, before we go to Primrose, I'd like to discuss the digestive project with you. I know you've been kept in the dark about it, but what light's been thrown on? What have you found out?
So, I mean, so again, it's a capital project that wasn't really being handled by Veolia. As of right now, they will be coming back out. I know there was some problems with actual material, actually the burner itself. So all the equipment now is here. Now just waiting for Wilkerson to get their crew back over here. The general feeling after they came out Friday, we had a good meeting. I'm going to say they're probably going to be out here the first week of October, and they believe that they can get it done before the end of October, probably about 3 to 4 weeks. So demo crew was in Friday looking around, and like I said, I think we'll be back on schedule with that.
Okay, my concern is the piping. Where do we stand on I know you weren't there, but
Right.
this is the limbo we have. Is there or is there not a contract out for the design of the piping?
Okay, so there was an addendum added to the Wilkerson's contract that will get the gas piping out of the building. All right, so that's as far as they're going to go. Then there's I believe Hallam is your engineer, and Hallam was working on, like, I want to say it's estimate 500 feet of let's call it red methane piping. I know they're working on that, and then that will have to be put out to bid. As of right now, it is not. I don't believe it has not been put out to bid.
Okay, now, bear with me, because I don't mean to vent at you, okay? This piping has been an issue now since, correct me if I'm wrong, May? We knew about it?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay, we've known about it since May. Why is there not a scope of work for that piping?
So there, like I said, Hallam is involved. Like I said, I wasn't really part of that Hallam conversations, but I believe, Chuck, as we speak today, it is ready to go out to bid.
Where is this scope of work?
I believe you have to speak to Hallam.
Do you have a contact at Hallam?
I do not. You have to ask Robin.
Sherry, Dan, when I get off the phone, Rick, I want to include you on this too. I will contact Hallam to find out where that scope of work is. I'll submit a copy to you guys for review.
okay.
We have to get Rick. I don't think the piping will be an issue through the fall and winter, is it?
No, I mean, no, it should not be an issue. My big issue right now is getting that new boiler up and running
I agree before
before it gets too cold.
Yep.
So that boiler's not dependent on the piping.
No, it is. It is. I need the boiler. I mean, basically what happens, Jerry, is the boiler. Once the boiler's in, it's gonna have it's fed by the methane gas from the primary digester, and so that's what feeds it. That's the fuel. And the condition of the piping itself right now is not the best condition, I would say. And so
we
when
do need the piping.
what board was that? I forget, from the town, the inspector, I believe it was a gas inspector, came out in May. And the last I know, like I said, it was the previous superintendent, David, put it out, had Hallam took care of it. And now we're just waiting. I thought he told me sometime in October it was going to go out to bid, but I don't have the specifics on that.
Okay, like I said, I'll find that out today.
Okay.
My major concern is when the town gas inspector came in, He said it was not up to code. Correct?
I'm not really I'm not really sure what he really meant by that. In the condition, let's just say the condition of it, was not, he did not like, let's just say that.
Okay, but I want to make sure that there's no violation for safety codes with OSHA, and two, the guys are not in jeopardy.
Can we ask Robin to get a copy of that report? From the gas inspector?
Yeah, I don't have a copy of it. I've never seen it.
Can we
Oh,
ask Robin?
this is one of the things that aggravate. I mean, you're in charge of running, and I'm not focusing on you, Rick. You're in charge of running the facility. How can you be kept out of the loop on this stuff? I mean, this
So let's
is,
get a copy of the report and see what he
Yep.
said.
all right, Rick, I'll see if I can get a copy. Who did that report? The town?
The town, yep.
Town gas inspector. I'll follow up on that. Hopefully it's in the file. Let me see. Rick, I think that's all I have for you. Do you need anything from us?
No, I'm good right now.
Have a good weekend.
Very good, thank you.
Thanks, Rick.
Rick, thanks
All
a
right.
lot. Have a good one.
Thank you, you too.
Robin's still not, oh, there's Robin. Robin?
I logged in with my phone because I don't know what's going on with my computer, but I think that was creating the echo with everyone.
Okay. What I want to do is I want to turn it over to you now for department items.
Okay. Let's see. I had the drain layer license for Joseph Ciccone. I believe you sent me an email saying that his references checked out.
Yes, I did. I checked both Whitman and Abington. They had stellar things to say about him. So there is a drain layers license for Robert Ciccone and Sons. I make a motion that we accept that.
Second,
All in favor? Mr. DeRoss,
yes.
Ms. Valley,
Yes,
and Mr. Hessian's a yes. That is approval, Robin, for him.
Perfect, thank you. The next thing was the IPP industrial user permit. So I reached out to those people again, and they did not want to tell me the name of the company because they haven't done the press release. So the application is the same for a discharge and a zero discharge. So I sent them the application and I just made a judgment call and told them that they'd have to fill out a new application for the new company. That's going to require, though, even if we transferred it over or it's a new application, they do have to be inspected at some point before we issue the new permit.
Okay.
do we know if it's the same type of business?
Yeah, nothing's changing except
Okay.
for the name of the company and the owner.
Okay,
And like I said, it's the same permit for zero discharge or discharge, so they can start the permit process. I think they said they were putting out a press release this week, so we should know what company it is sometime this week. The next one is Dyer, Zero Dyer they had updated plans and I believe I forwarded them.
Yes. I didn't
All right.
see any significant change on our side.
Okay, so the language that we typically use is the initial review of the plans meet the requirements established by the Sewer Commission. The applicant will need to appear before the Rockland Sewer Commission to explain the project in detail, review the plans in depth, answer any questions, determine fees, and fill out an application for approval.
Okay,
The
Robin,
Sewer Commission
I'm sorry.
will provide, the Sewer Commission will provide formal written approval or denial of the project by the following scheduled meeting of the board. I'm not going to include that. That's kind of specific when you get to the end of the process, but so what I'd like to do is add that language and then have one of you come down and sign it.
Okay, please do. Why don't we
Grant,
have,
you know.
can we schedule him for October to come in to explain his change?
Add them to the October.
Yeah. Just so we can explain where he is. And
All right. Do you happen to know who that offhand? Oh, that's Eric Schumacher again. Okay.
Yes, it is.
All right, so I'll add that language. Excuse me, print that out and I'll have it on the table. Do you know
Okay.
who's gonna come down and sign it?
When you have it ready, give me a call and I'll be down.
Okay, I'll have it ready this morning.
Okay, I'll be down right after lunch.
Okay, perfect. So then we got a public records request from Robert Long. One of our last meetings, you mentioned the AECom study and you referenced some of the pages on there. And he went looking for it and it wasn't on the website. So I forwarded that along to you. I copied in the clerk's office because it's a public records request. I did update the website and added the SSES study. So the clerk's office will reach out to him and let him know it's available.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked that it went to you. Like I sent you in that email. I thought it would go to Liza first, but no, thank
Well,
you very much. Thank you very much for your help on that.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, the way it's set up is that anyone can reach out to any department on the website. And if it's a public records request, then we are all required and instructed to forward that to the clerks group so they can record it as an official public records request and then send our response that way.
Okay, so I want to refresh the public's memory of those pages. Those pages, I believe they were pages, I'm off the top of my head, I know I'm in the ballpark of 23 to 25 or something like that on the Appendix A. Yes, Appendix A. And what that was just referred to those addresses that had lateral work that was being required. Like I said, we're not moving on laterals at all right now until we, number one, get rid of figure out where we are, the I, and then we'll retackle that date that was submitted in the lateral work. Lateral work, again, so people know, we are not going after it. I don't want you to panic on it. But laterals, the homeowner or property owner is responsible for laterals from your home or business to the main in the street. You have to incur those costs. So laterals are a very, very significant portion of our I&I and should be corrected. But again, we're going to do the best we can so it's not an impact on the homeowner. And that will be absolutely the last thing we do. But it was in that report and I wanted everyone to be aware of that. Okay, Robin, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I wanted to follow up on what I mentioned at the last meeting, 7 Grasswood Circle and Leisure Woods. They needed to be cleared of debris. Rick actually sent Gary out to have a look, but I believe it was National Grid. And if I'm wrong, it was one of the utility companies, maybe the gas company was out there and the street was blocked, so we didn't have access, but that's ongoing.
Okay.
And the other thing is, I'm just following up on that stock letter requested by Rick again for the area of Whaler Ave for the pump station loaded with grease. Was someone gonna pen a correspondence to them?
Okay, when I come down, can you go over that again with me and I'll take care of that for you?
Okay,
So I have that and, okay, like I said, I'll be down. What time's convenient for you, Robin?
it doesn't matter to me, whatever time's convenient for you, just let me know.
All right, well, let's say 1 o'clock.
Okay, I'll see you at 1. And that's it, that's all I have.
Okay, do you need anything else from us, Robin? Anything we do to help you out?
Not at the moment,
Okey-doke.
thank you.
Okay, Robin.
So I'm gonna, all right, I'm gonna sign off then, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you.
My cheat sheet. Let me get that. Robin, IPP transfer, got that. I just. Okay, this now brings us to the infamous Primrose. I sat down with Robin Thursday morning. No, excuse me, it was Friday morning. And again, she explained to me her interpretation of the pricing. And show you if I'm wrong, but again, this is another piece of confusion to this puzzle. We had originally approved 62,250 for them. I think now, what I wanted to do is be consistent at that area of time again, and I'm walking myself through it. Starting in February of 21, we wanted to start have a clear moratorium, which meant we would have had to freeze everyone. So the goal of the commission was to approve, if we could, every applicant that was out there prior to July 1st, so they suffered no financial loss or time when their project. What we wanted to do was impose the fees that were applicable at the time. I know in my mind that back in I think it was 20. I think we finally I finally talked them into going into from $10 a gallon to $20 a gallon. And I believe that was the one thing that was the confusing point on that. So what would have been $20 a gallon. I checked Dwyer Street and all the others at that time did receive the 20, Sherry. So I think we've got to look at that. But now here's where I'm getting. I think, and bear with me, Dan, I need you guys to pay attention to this. I have got serious concerns on the way this whole thing was handled. And I don't want, even though Land Use Council said it was nothing this board participated in or had a hand in, just the whole project itself. Personally, I believe we should seek outside legal counsel to lay all the cards on the table to this person and find out if this is something that should go to the Attorney General's office. And here's why I'm concerned. There've been so much flip-flopping in money about fees. Then there's also the fact that back in February or March, when the gentleman appeared, they offered a $5,000 gift to the department to go to I&I, whatever, but it doesn't matter. I really think this thing needs to be looked at. It's well within our rights under Chapter 40 that we can secure outside legal counsel. I think we should put away some funds to at least make a contact with an attorney to review this. Again, I'm not pointing a finger at Clifford and Kenny. What I'm saying is that I don't think, I'm worried about some of the correspondence I received. And again, there's no finger pointing here because it was not that. It's just that it conflicts with my personal beliefs. Either way, I think it's so complicated and so messy, and we're talking a significant amount of money. I think it warrants a review. I don't want to call the Attorney General's office if it's not necessary. But this whole thing is, it's just so wrong from the get-go. I mean, you're looking at missing correspondence for a year. You're looking at unapproved fees being mentioned. Sherry, you and I have both seen what, 5 different.
That's right.
5 different quotes on fees with 5 different dates within a span of 3 days. I mean, it's just too messy, and I think it's beyond us to look at. I don't think it to consultation or on a review like this, I don't think it would cost more than $3,000. I think honestly, for the potential embarrassment it could cause this board, the potential miscue. I mean, let's face it, we're residents doing the job. I don't think we warrant being hauled into if somebody raises their finger and points. And I want to leave no shadow on this board whatsoever. So I am going to make a motion that we investigate outside counsel to look at this matter.
I second it.
And the council is to determine the fees?
No,
Just to review the
council
whole-
to determine the fee. We'll look at what we're doing for the fees. I think we need some guidance on this. I really do. So I'd like to table the fees. I'd like to, if a refund is warranted, they're gonna get a refund. I think they are gonna get a refund one way or the other, because they're not gonna be charged more than the fees that were on the books of July 1st, 2021, period. But I think the whole enchilada needs a fresh look at. I really, really do. I mean, you're talking an awful lot of money. You're talking, I don't want to say scandal, but there's been enough finger pointing going on. And to me, that's money worth spending. So again, I'm making a motion that we seek outside legal counsel.
I
to
second.
review that. I have a motion, I have a second. Mr. DeRoss,
Yes.
Ms. Valley,
Yes,
and Mr. Hessian is a yes. I will not select an attorney. I will reach out and investigate. I have a friend at Hale and Door who has not represented me ever in the past. I will reach out to them and see if they could at least give us some guidance on this. And we'll do it in executive session when we come up, but I'll come up with a name. And we'll discuss it further at the next business session. I just think, guys, I think it's the right thing to do. I want no shadow on this board. And I just don't like what I'm seeing in front of me. And when we're talking this kind of money, I think it's well warranted. So with that said, we have a vote, we have approval on that. As far as the refund status, Sherry, if we capped it at the 62,250 right now, the way we voted, and I'm pretty sure that is going to change. I am 100% sure that'll change to the 80,000 reason. What is the amount of money that Primrose has paid to date that you know of?
I know they paid 81,000 and Robin is also holding a check for 10,000. So
Correct.
we need to address those payments.
Right. And I think before I don't even want to contact them to tell them to put a hold on this payment, because I don't want them getting the wrong idea and thinking, what's going on. Again, I think this is where we need legal counsel. So I will make that call today. And I will advise Clifford and Kenny via email that we're doing so. So with that
I think,
said, any more that you'd like to add, Sherry, Dan, Jerry,
no, I'm good.
Dan?
I'm good.
Listen, I have no problem. I want you to understand something. If I make a motion and you guys don't agree with it, I
Yeah.
hope you would say it. Please, don't ever hesitate to speak your mind on these matters. Again, I'm gun shy, and I think rightfully so. I mean, there's been a lot of other investigations on. I just don't want to be part of another one, and so that'll be taken care of. So I'm going down today and work with Robin. Once I get that invoice or projected costs on Veolia, I will send that to you guys immediately via email. I'll have Robin send it out to you. We could look at that. And I'll give Robin what I think the suggestion, how we should proceed. And if we need a meeting, we'll get a meeting to approve it, or we just leave it there to approve. In summary, I'm not really worried about that November submittal. It's just tying everyone together. And I think that's where that project management is going to help. So with that said, on the agenda for next week, Primrose, Robin's Daily. Hopefully I'll have an update on the digester piping. Sure, I can't see troubling you anymore accounting wise with
No, I don't have anything to add.
with Primrose until we find out from the attorney.
No, if you'd like to leave the accounting update as just a standard item as I work through things, if something comes up.
That's what I'd like to do, if you don't
Yeah.
mind. And I'd
Yeah,
also
edit
like
it
to,
and take the Primrose part off it, just leave it as a
I will
standard.
do that.
accounting
I will
update.
do that.
And
One other thing I'd like to like to add, and I also didn't add it to this one, but I'd like to, under other topics that if deemed necessary, approval of the working minutes for last week. Dan, did you read them?
I having a problem with my computer. Does it open? It doesn't open.
Okay, then what we're going to do is I'm going to hold off on approving the minutes till next week. Because I want everyone to read them.
yeah, I can resend them too. Let me resend them.
Sherry, do you need any help from me?
No, I'll tell you what I'm struggling with on the fees is a dated schedule that states what they are. Not currently, but previously.
Okay,
The last two of them.
we have the fees. I think what would help you is if Robert could send you what was on the website, the posted
Yes.
fees. I want
Yes.
them from, I'll get them from, I'll have her put up from, I'll have her send them to you, because I don't want to confuse the website. What the
Yes,
fees were prior to July 1st of 21,
as of March 2021.
March 2021, correct. I also, the fees that are up on the schedule right now are the applicable fees that we assess to every vendor
Yes.
and developer when they submit their final work order.
Yes,
I think if I had a hazard a guess, there was a quote floating around here of 80,000. I think that's the ballpark we're going to be looking at for Primrose.
so, that's my concern, that quotes float around. The pricing sheet that is used for these various projects where it spells out the flow and the fees and the fee matrix or whatever they're calling it, that form needs to have a date on it. There's
I
no
agree
space-
completely with you.
No space for a date on any of them.
No, I think
So
I
this-
couldn't agree more with you. That needs a date, and it also needs a date it was originated, and I down on the bottom right-hand corner, I want to see a revision date,
Yes,
so we can backtrack it,
yes.
like from revision A, B, C, D. I think we're
Yeah,
safe.
revision date, yep,
I think we're safe because, again, up into July of 2020, the last fee increase was in 2004. So I think we can very easily backtrack to 2020 on. So we'll call 2020 revision.
March of 2021 is what we need the fee schedule.
Okay, we need a revision date for March of 2021, but the
Yes.
fees will be published in July on the new site. So there'll be a revision on it. We'll call it
July
revision.
2021.
We'll call this revision C, A, B, or C once we get all of them. And then there'll be a revision date so we can backtrack every single date of fee increase. Right now, there is no way to do that.
Nope.
But I will get you the fees that were applicable on March 25th of 2021.
Thank you.
So with that said,
Um,
I want to thank
yep.
you very much. Sherry, any more,
Yep.
please?
Yeah, the other thing I'd like to address sometime in the nearer future is the whole fee schedule. And if the I&I fees are covering costs, we need to start looking and thinking about that.
Okay, what I wonder, you weren't on the board at the time.
No.
My feeling was back in April, and I had spoken to Dan, was that the fee structure desperately needs to be revisited. I had a difficult would be understatement of the year with the previous board trying to get him to do a fee structure. I couldn't even get him to do a rate study. So the first fee structure that we did, I got them to agree on, was 2020. And I know that was from $10 a gallon to $20 a gallon.
Okay,
There was also an increase. They were charging like $50 or $100 a unit for developers, I believe. And we got it up, Dan and I got it up to like 7,500 or what have you, to where it should be. But the fee structure for I definitely needs to be revisited. The reason I have not made it a priority is because back in April, we knew we were getting this order. Wanted to get a moratorium in place to demonstrate to the EPA that we're being proactive. And we put in a fee structure with a date. I knew we would not be allowed any more connections after July 21. So honestly, I kind of backburned the fee structure because I'm looking at it, we have 8 months to work on that.
Yeah.
Before we see any new fees. So what I want to do with that fee structure, so you know, is I want to get really into what other towns are charging. I want to look at, when you're looking at, for example, lining a pipe, there's a cost per linear foot. Well, that linear foot goes up. And I'm not sure if we want to have, if, for example, I'm using this as an example. Say we identify in the SSE study 300 feet of pipe that needs to be lined. And I'm just saying hypothetically, do we want to say, okay, for an applicant coming in, his I cost, you're going to replace that 300, whatever it takes. Say that 300 feet would fix his requirement for flow. Okay, I want to know, I want to have a concrete number so this department is not losing money, we're making money on that permit. I want to know what exactly the costs are we're assessing him for the I work. And that's how I need to play that out. We need to talk about that.
Right, we need to have a full discussion.
Oh, I think this is probably going to be, honestly, probably a little mini engineering study to go out and say, okay, what? Because let's face it, we're not paying for this. I'm not sitting on the phone all day to call different towns and engineering firms. What do you charge for linear foot and all that? So I want to have a real sound cost structure then, because again, I'm not keep saying this, we can't go back on 17 years, but we have enough now accrued in our I funds since last year to handle what I work we need with the grant money and all that, which I want to get to the grant in a minute. But so the residents are not paying for this I. Whoever said that is whatever they're smoking, I definitely want a jalo, but we will get it taken care of. I is going to be taken care of by developers.
Right, and my concern is, you know, we have the Holy Family Schoolhouse apartments will be coming down the line. And I want to make sure that we cover the cost for the 11-to-1.
Right, and we're going to be, and I can
Everybody who's
honestly
coming
say
in.
that we're going to be able to do that. I'm very confident we're going to do that because we're not in a bit, no one is in the business to lose money. Those days for this department are over. I mean,
Just
to the
yeah,
residents
I just
again,
wanna-
it may,
I understand it was backburnered. It made sense. We had the EPA, but I want to start floating that up on the list.
no, I agree. And I think and I'm not saying November 30th, but once we get them going on that, I think
Okay.
theoretically in October, we can start looking at that.
Yep.
Again, and again to the public, that's why we are looking so hard, this board, at the budgets and all that. It's not questioning any superintendent was in there, but there was not a real good, clear budgets where the money went. And Sherry's done a heck of a job itemizing the different things, especially isolating the I, which is the most important one, and repairs. And getting the grant money is going to help us as well, which I want to thank Jen Constable and Dave for working on those grants to get that for the opera funds. The other one, it was the that I didn't know about, was the green grant.
Yes, the green energy grant. I'm going to call Jen today and look into that a little bit further.
What I would like to do is, if you would, Sherry, is find out what you can about that. I know I saw Jen's letter and I wanted to post that, but I think I'd rather do that at an evening meeting when we know we have an audience. And that way there we can give Jen the appropriate kudos and Dave the appropriate kudos, whoever was involved in that. Because again, all this stuff is going to help.
Yeah. Yes, every bit.
Okay. That's about all I have. Dan, do you have anything you'd like to add?
No, I have nothing to say at the moment.
Okay. As far as next week, Sherry, you're on.
So we have a question regarding the 11-to-1 or if there was actually a 15-1 INI.
Right now it's 11-1. The 15-1 again was
That was
proposed.
just a suggestion, right?
Oh, yeah. No, it was a suggestion. And again, I have to look, I believe the EPA and DEP approved the 11-1. I think that requires a formal letter to say, hey, we'd like to change this. But again, is 15-1 appropriate? We don't know yet.
Mhm.
And that's what I want to look into. The fees are definitely going to change. That there is no doubt about that. And they're not going to change
Yes.
for the better. For developers.
And the
quite
fees
honestly,
are
I
not
don't-
dependent, on 11-1 or 15-1. The
No.
fee will apply either way.
Right, the fees will apply either way. The 11-1 comes in with the INI.
The,
And that's what we'll address. But again, I felt we had the luxury of time, and that's
Yeah.
why this board is looking so hard at the budget numbers. And again, if superintendents took exception to that, I'm very sorry, but that's what these boards should do. They're looking out for the residents' spending. And I'm not questioning anything they did, but we're asking as if another taxpayer would ask, and that's all I want to do. Because hell, it's my money too. With that said, again, I'd like to end this. I got
Okay,
the first
hold on.
discussion with the attorney. I got the Robin Daly, Digesta Piping, and Sherry, you got one more.
Yeah, when you're ready to
talking,
talk
I
about
don't care.
meeting dates. Go on.
Meeting dates. I'm ready to talk about meeting dates.
Okay, so I am not available September 27th, Tuesday.
Okay.
Wednesday onward, I'm fine. But
Dan,
Monday,
you have a-
Tuesday, I'm out of town.
Let me see. I'm having so much fun. I'm still in August. Dan, do you have a problem with September 28th?
no, it's 27th I do.
Okay, hey, that's great.
There we
So
go.
we all have a problem. Okay, that'll be September 28th. Next Wednesday, 2 PM at the plant. Because I think we're gonna have some documents to look at.
Great.
Okay, I'll put that out as a quick email to you guys to confirm. And I'll change the date, and I want to change some of the wording on that. We have an in-public meeting, it says open public meeting. Public is welcome to attend, but no public comment input. I think that should stay, because this is for us to browbeat our little nonsense around.
For your agendas, can you add, old business, any other old business not reasonably anticipated?
Onto the working sessions?
Yes. I feel that covers us so that as everyone is investigating or checking things out, if something comes up, at least we can discuss it without specifically calling it on the,
Chuck, I got a question for you.
Shoot.
yes.
Clifford said at a meeting that we could charge 20-1 and didn't have to do anything about it, just charge it.
I want to check into that, Dan. I think what had happened back in 2006 is we were just under what is called basically an administrative order, administrative whatever. And usually under administrative order, you can publish what you're going to do for corrective actions. So back in 2006, Rockland hired, at the time it was ACOM, but it was really Eddie and something. I forget. McEddie or Eddie and I forget what it was called. They published out the corrective actions that Rockland would follow. I believe at that time, Mass DEP stated it'll be 11-1. So if they stated that, that is what we use for a guideline. Now, when you have an AO and you want to change anything, that you got to do it by writing. What we are under now is, it may be called an AO, but we're going to be fine. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. We're going to be fine. And fines come under a consent order. So once we hit a consent order, you don't have any say. They're going to tell you what you're going to do, much like they did now, and we'll do. So I think anything to do with that 11-1, 10-1, 15-1 has got to be requested. Those are the things I want to look into. So we can address that in the fees, because that'll be a key portion of the fee conversation, because that's going to impact the INI. That's all I have. With that, I'll take a motion. Sherry, anything else? By the way, awesome picture of the Milky Way.
Thank you. No, I think I'm good.
Okay. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I just make a motion. I
Do I have a
second.
second?
Second,
All in favor, Mr. DeRoss,
Yes.
Ms. Valley,
yes.
Mr. Hessian, yes. As I'll, like I said, I'll send you out that email today on the change of date, no agenda. I'll make the changes to the agenda, Sherry. I'm going down and sit with Robin at 1. If I have anything that needs to have you guys address, I'll put out a minutes for that, for you to address that.
Are there any documents down there that need my signature?
I don't know. That's what I'll look
Okay.
at. That's what
right.
I'll look at, and I'll send it
All
out to you.
All right.
With that, thank you very much, guys. Have a good day.
Okay, thank you.
Take care.
You do.
Hey, how do you end this?